on the board is the angle sum formula for the sine. And the point of such a formula is to compute a trig function for an unknown angle using angles that are much more familiar. So the sine of 75 I can write in terms of the familiar angles of 30 degrees plus 45 degrees. And now I can take advantage of my formula to compute this expression exactly. This will be the sine of 30 times the cosine of 45 plus the cosine of 30 times the sine of 45. These are all values that I know exactly from the special angles on the unit circle. We have 1/2 times 1 over radical 2 plus radical 3 over 2 times 1 over radical 2. Multiply the fractions, so multiply numerators and denominators. And we have the same denominator in each fraction, so we can simply combine the numerators over that common denominator. Right? So this is the exact value for the sine of 75 degrees. If I'd used the rationalized forms here, radical 2 over 2 and radical 2 over 2, this fraction at the end would have been much nicer, but nonetheless equivalent to what we have here on the board. So let's try two more. I want the sine of 195 degrees. Right. So I can write this as the sine of two angles, where one is a multiple of 30, 150, and the other, let's just use 45 degrees. Right. Use the formula. So the sine of 150 times the cosine of 45 plus the cosine of 150 times the sine of 45. Sine of 150, let's see here, 150 brings me over there to the point negative radical 3 over 2 1/2. So the sine of 150 is 1/2, cosine of 45 1 over radical 2. Cosine of 150 degrees is negative root 3 over 2, and the sine of 45 1 over radical 2. So we have 1 over 2 radical 2 minus root 3 over 2 radical 2. Again, we have the same denominators here, so I can just combine the numerators. 1 minus root 3 over 2 root 2. One more. Sine of 15 degrees. Well, if I'm clever with negatives, then I can write this as the sine of 45 degrees plus a negative 30 degrees. We'll tackle this in the next video using a slightly different formula, although equivalent to the one that we're using. This is the sine of 45 times the cosine of negative 30 plus the cosine of 45 times the sine of negative 30. So again, sine of 45 is 1 over root 2. Cosine of negative 30 is radical 3 over 2. Cosine 45 times the sine of negative 30 is a negative 1/2. So again, multiply fractions, we get root 3 over 2 root 2 minus 1 over 2 radical 2 and then again combine. So root 3 minus 1 over 2 root 2.